In the deepest level of the Vatican library, there is a shelf no visitor has ever seen. One manuscript there does not speak of a resurrection. It speaks of a disappearance. A body never found. A bloodline never erased. And men who died protecting a secret that could never be spoken aloud. Deep beneath the polished marble floors of the Vatican, in corridors forgotten even by the most dedicated scholars, lies a chamber shrouded in shadows. The air is thick with dust and silence, broken only by the faint scratching of centuries-old ink on fragile parchment. Shelves, towering and endless, stretch into darkness, their spines whispering secrets that time itself has tried to bury. Among these relics sits a single book, unlike any other, its cover unmarked, its spine unnumbered, and its presence almost forbidden. Candlelight seems hesitant to touch it, flickering as if the flames themselves fear the truth held within. They say its pages do not speak of miracles or the familiar stories of crucifixion. Instead, it recounts disappearance, lineage, and shadows of those who were never meant to exist in history's official narrative. Some scholars whisper of faint sketches in the margins, figures kneeling under crosses, children hidden beneath cloaks, knights shielding more than mere lives. Legends tell that those who attempt to open the book experience a weight that bends the very air around them, a shiver that sinks into bones, a certainty that the secrets inside are alive, watching. The guards assigned to the chamber speak nothing, their eyes hollow but vigilant, for the Vatican does not simply hide knowledge, it protects it with devotion bordering on fear. Outside, the corridors are serene, sunlight spilling across frescoed ceilings and polished marble, but beneath, in the deep shadows, the book waits, a silent sentinel to truths the world is not ready to witness. And those who wonder, who dare to imagine the whispers of bloodlines and protected heirs, must ask themselves, if this book exists, if it reveals what centuries have tried to erase, who holds the courage, or the madness, to uncover it, and can they survive what comes after? The morning sun had just begun to pierce the hills of Judea, casting pale light over the silent tombs carved into the rock. Guards had gone about their routine, soldiers asleep, unaware that one sepulchre would defy the world's expectations forever. The stone, immense and heavy, once sealed the fate of a man called Jesus, or so the chronicles claimed. But when the followers returned, the tomb was empty. Not a trace of the body remained. Linen cloths, carefully folded, hinted a departure, not desecration. Scholars and theologians would spend centuries questioning how this could be, each theory tangled in contradictions, whispers of miracles, theft, or secret escape. And yet, beyond the questions of faith, a shadow lingered. Could it be that the story of the cross was not the final chapter? Legends speak of those who vanished with the dawn, cloaked in secrecy, carrying with them not holy relics but something far more dangerous, knowledge, a lineage, a bloodline meant to be hidden. The hills and valleys kept their silence, as if the land itself remembered what men dared not record. Over time, scribes inked tales that straddled history and myth, hinting at journeys across seas and into the hidden corners of empires, while the official accounts remained rigid, incomplete, sanitized. And so the question persisted, unspoken yet burning. If the tomb truly held nothing, if the body was never recovered, what truths escaped into the world, shadowed by the veil of legend? Every stone, every whisper in the wind seemed to murmur a warning. Some knowledge, once touched, could unmake empires, shatter beliefs, and reveal a history written not by the powerful, but by those who were sworn to guard the unspeakable. And in the dark corners of history, the echoes of their duty still resonate, reminding those who dare to ask, what if the final chapter was never meant to be read? In the hidden corners of history, where parchment and ink dared not speak plainly, her name was whispered only in fragments, Mary Magdalene. To the world, she was a follower, a witness, but behind closed doors and in apocryphal texts, she was so much more, the mother, the protector, the secret bearer of a line meant to continue unseen. Scholars debated her existence, scribes omitted her from chronicles, and the Church carefully erased the traces that would link her to what some would call the bloodline of Jesus. Yet legends endure. They tell of a woman who fled the chaos of Jerusalem, carrying with her not relics, nor wealth, but a child swaddled in innocence, the continuation of a lineage that must remain hidden. Across mountains and seas, she traveled with only the shadows as companions, guided by those who swore to protect the secret at all costs. The stories speak of forests that whispered her passage, rivers that bent around her path, and villages where the people felt a presence both sacred and dangerous. Every step she took was a gamble with fate, every harbor a potential betrayal. And still, she persisted, her figure etched into memory as both ordinary and extraordinary, a symbol of what power, secrecy, and love could accomplish when the world sought to erase it. In the margins of forgotten manuscripts, her name reappears in coded scripts, hints of encounters with knights sworn to protect her and the child beneath her cloak. For centuries, her journey was invisible to most, but for those who understand the pattern of history, her path forms a luminous thread connecting mystery, devotion, and the unbroken line of a secret no empire could extinguish. The question remains, who truly remembers her story, and who dares to follow where she led, across the unseen corridors of time and the hidden shadows of men sworn to silence? In the hidden valleys of southern France, whispers tell of children whose existence history tried to erase. They were said to be the heirs of a lineage the world was never meant to see, fragile yet powerful, innocent yet dangerous simply by their blood. Knights in white cloaks, bearing red crosses, became their silent guardians, pledging their lives to shield these children from inquisitors, kings, and jealous nobles. By day, the children were taught to read the stars, to navigate forests, and to speak only in riddles. By night, the knights stood watch, swords drawn, hearts steeled against those who would strike before dawn. Legends describe the children tucked beneath the cloaks and arms of their protectors, hidden from sight, as their world became a labyrinth of castles, forests, and secret passageways. Even the winds seemed to carry warnings, footsteps that vanished into mist, shadows that bent unnaturally, and the occasional echo of a bell that rang for no reason. Generations passed in whispers and coded signs, each guardian taking an oath to silence, each child learning the weight of a secret older than kingdoms. It was said that those who sought them never found more than a fleeting glimpse, a shadow behind a tree, a laugh carried away by the wind, or a candle flickering in a distant tower. The story of these children, both real and imagined, is threaded with danger, loyalty, and sacrifice. And even now, centuries later, the question lingers, where did the line go? And who continues to guard it in the shadows, invisible but unbroken, bearing the burden of a secret that could shake the foundations of empires if ever revealed? Across Europe, the Knights Templar became a name whispered in awe and fear. To outsiders, they were warriors of faith, defenders of holy sites, and keepers of sacred relics. Yet behind the armor and the crosses, a more complex story unfolded, one of immense wealth, cunning strategy, and influence that stretched from the castles of France to the harbors of the Mediterranean. Their coffers overflowed with gold, silver, and treasures collected from crusades, donations, and secret gifts. But what truly set them apart was what no ledger could record: the knowledge they protected, the bloodlines they safeguarded, and the networks of loyalty that ran invisible beneath kings' thrones. Legends speak of underground vaults filled not only with gold but with manuscripts, maps, and coded symbols pointing to truths the Church could not reveal. Some say the Templars were more than bankers. They were guardians of a secret history, a living archive of humanity's most forbidden stories. Yet with wealth came suspicion. Monarchs envied them, popes feared them, and whispers of heresy grew louder with every coin counted and every fortress built. The order that appeared so invincible, so rich beyond measure, was not only accumulating treasure but also consolidating power, not for conquest, but to protect the unseen, the vulnerable, the children hidden beneath cloaks and the lineage no one was meant to know. And so, beneath the glittering wealth, the silent oaths of knights bound them tighter than gold, a chain forged in loyalty, secrecy, and the unyielding knowledge that the world could never discover what they truly guarded. The more they were seen, the more the danger grew, and the more they understood that their fortune was only a shadow of the responsibility they bore, a responsibility that would eventually draw fire, betrayal, and the wrath of empires determined to erase the truth forever. The morning of October 13, 1307, began like any other in Paris, yet the city would soon be gripped by a shadow the likes of which it had never seen. At dawn, the king's men, armed with orders from Pope Clement V, moved silently through the streets, surrounding Templar strongholds with precision and ruthless efficiency. Gates were broken, doors flung open, and knights awoke to a nightmare their vows had never prepared them for. Those who had pledged their lives to protect sacred knowledge, bloodlines, and secret heirs now found themselves betrayed by the very system they served. Arrests were swift, the chains biting cold into armored wrists. Rumors tell of knights thrown into dungeons without trial, of their wealth seized, and of manuscripts burned in secret courtyards while the smoke rose like a warning to the skies. Yet the most disturbing accounts speak not of treasure, but of loyalty tested beyond endurance, of Templars kneeling, silent, even as they were beaten, knowing that beneath their bodies, the children they protected remained untouched, hidden from the wrath of the world. Fear spread through every fortress, every stronghold, and every monastery under the Templar banner. Yet despite the violence, whispers of their secret lineages could not be extinguished. Some knights escaped, carrying fragments of the truth, shadows of a mission that would outlive empires. The day became etched into history not merely as a number, but as a symbol of betrayal, of vigilance, and of the immense cost of guarding a secret the world was never meant to know. And in the quiet hours that followed, as Paris settled into uneasy silence, the question lingered like a blade in the dark: who would survive, and who would continue the task of protecting the lineage that must never be revealed? The stakes of secrecy became horrifyingly real as the Templars were dragged from their cells, bound and humiliated, to pyres that would mark the end of their visible power. Flames licked their cloaks, the red crosses scorched and darkened by smoke and fire. Yet, even in agony, they spoke no words of betrayal. Scholars and chroniclers later wrote of knights kneeling in silence, their eyes defiant, their bodies a shield over knowledge that could unravel kingdoms. Beneath them, hidden in the shadows of their devotion, the children they had sworn to protect remained untouched, shrouded beneath cloaks, arms, and bodies, a secret that the world could never glimpse. Witnesses tell of the stillness in the air, the oppressive quiet broken only by the crackle of flames and the occasional clink of armor collapsing. Some Templars were executed in public squares, others in hidden chambers, yet all shared a singular truth: death could claim their flesh, their wealth, their titles, but not the secrets they bore. Legends suggest that in those final moments, subtle signs and coded gestures passed from one knight to another, ensuring the continuation of the bloodline and the protection of the lineage. The Church recorded the events sparsely, leaving gaps and ambiguities that generations of historians would later puzzle over. And in the silence that followed, as fires died and stone halls grew cold, the question hung like smoke over the world: who had survived? And who carried forward the burden of a secret so perilous, so sacred, that even death itself could not destroy it? The execution said nothing, yet in that silence, the story endured, hidden in shadows, whispered through centuries, waiting for those who dared to follow its faint, unbroken thread. Centuries passed, empires rose and fell, and yet the lineage that the Templars had sworn to protect remained hidden, elusive, almost mythic. The trails they left behind were faint, coded manuscripts, secret oaths, subtle symbols etched into stone, and whispered tales carried through generations. Scholars, kings, and priests could only guess, never confirm, for the truth was deliberately veiled. Some legends speak of descendants scattered across distant lands, living ordinary lives while carrying an extraordinary inheritance unknown even to themselves. Others hint at guardians, hidden societies who continue to watch over the heirs, invisible yet vigilant, ensuring that the secret never falls into the wrong hands. Every fortress, every abandoned castle, every ancient forest is said to hold fragments of this story, traces of a lineage that could rewrite history, should it ever be revealed. And yet, even now, the question remains: who truly knows? Who still walks the earth bearing the weight of this bloodline? The world believes it understands the past, yet so much was written in shadows, erased, or deliberately hidden. The Templars may have fallen, their names burned into memory, their bodies lost to history, but their mission endures in silence. For those who dare to follow the faintest of signs, who look beyond the official chronicles and question what has been erased, the message is clear. Some truths are protected by the courageous, safeguarded through fire, blood, and unyielding loyalty. And in the end, the greatest mystery is not who existed centuries ago, but who survives today, and who will carry forward a secret that has defied time, empire, and death itself. The bloodline persists, unseen, waiting, a silent testament to the cost of guarding history's most dangerous truth.